What's going on, dudes and dudettes? Yes, this is later in the day on Tuesday. Recording this, still got my victorious Duke shirt on, but I'll get into that in a little bit. I just figured a lot of good stuff that happened, so might as well just get it done now and have it at least ready to go tomorrow morning in case some other stuff happens. I know the USC men's play basketball on Thursday for Thanksgiving. I know the Lakers play again tomorrow against Dallas, which I'm pretty sure LeBron will not play that game because I'm pretty sure he's not going to play back-to-backs, even though he got a lot of good rest in the fourth quarter in this game. But like I said, I'll get into that. But yeah, some other stuff, and I don't know if other teams are going to be playing or not, so I'd rather just get this done, like I said. Hopefully be up and ready to go tomorrow morning on Wednesday. But yeah, so start off the other day, the USC women's basketball team did play Seton Hall, as I mentioned in the other video, and they were able to get that victory 64-54. And then after that game, I think even last week, going back to last week, Juju Watkins and Isaiah Collier were both named a Pac-12 Freshman of the Week for, obviously they're both from USC, so that's great. I think they've won both of those the first 2 weeks from the Pac-12, which is pretty cool because it's obvious that they were the number one players coming out of high school and they've been performing well, so they obviously deserve that recognition, which is pretty cool for them. And I believe even when the AP poll came out recently for the women's side, USC had moved up all the way to number 8, which is pretty cool, a little bit more, a couple of spots than what they were, which was nice. And then they also came out with the number 1 recruiting class so far. They signed like 5 people overall, women that we recently talked about in like last week's videos. A lot of talented players, and right now they have the number 1 class. I believe even Duke has a number 5 class right now, which is pretty cool. And this is just the early signing period, so there's still time to add some more if they need to, but maybe Lindsey Godley of USC expects a max exodus out of the program with a lot of talented players, and maybe, like I said, a lot of these players going to the WNBA draft, so hopefully not, but definitely Juju Watkins and maybe Raya Marshall are most likely gone, but either way, still got a lot of great incoming recruits. And yes, sadly, of the 49ers, the safety Talanoa Hufanga, they played at some point on Sunday, and he definitely got hurt. He tore his ACL, which sucks in his knee, so he's definitely most likely going to be out for the rest of the year. And who knows when you come back from that. Sometimes it's almost a full year. Sometimes it's just 8 months, like some crazy people. I think Adrian Peterson even did it like that, if I remember correctly. But yeah, as of right now, he most likely will miss the start of next year, which is tough, but hopefully it's not a contract year for him. But either way, he still deserves a new contract from the team. He's drafted in the second round and has been a really good player for them. So either way, he should be ready to go for his future. But yeah, sadly, he did suffer that. So hoping and praying he gets better quickly. And yes, just think of him. And one of the top 2025 linebackers, I think he's from the state of Florida, Elijah Melendez, recently visited USC this last weekend. And even in a loss to a rival, he still thought he saw a lot of great stuff, especially when talking with the coaches and on campus and everything like that on his visit. So he definitely sees USC as a definite high favorite according to him. So that's pretty cool going into his recruiting in the future. Obviously, he won't be around for another year or so, but yes, to have a lot of guys in the future still talking good about your program, especially how much crap you've kind of gone through the past couple of months. It's been at least a nice bright spot for them as of right now. And then one of the top swimmers out there in high school, I believe he holds the record for the 50-meter swimming. I forget how long that was. I forget if that's there only straight or back and straight. I forget. But he's one of the record holders for that. And he recently signed with USC on signing day. He's a Diggory Dillingham, which is pretty cool. So obviously, once again, a lot of the top athletes, not only in football and basketball, men's, women's side, whatever, they're all coming to USC, which is pretty cool. So it's be a nice factory for them, and hopefully a lot of these people hosting in the Olympics. Because, yeah, LA does host the Olympics in 2028, so maybe a couple of these USC athletes will be out there, supporting the school, which will be awesome, and supporting our country. So that'd be pretty cool. And then the House of Victory did something that they wanted to do, because people remember a great finish to one of those USC UCLA games when Matt Barkley was there. The USC Trojans won 50-0, which was nice. So they kind of did a nice program and all this stuff to help build money for the football program, saying anybody, when it comes to fans or other donors, whatever, could pay a $50 donation to the House of Victory Collective to be able to give back to those players. And a lot of people could donate even more money as well. And then some anonymous person said that they would match it, especially if it reached its total goal of $250,000, which was pretty crazy that it's going to only happen. They're going to have to raise that money in a week, but they were able to. And that donor was true to their word and matched it. So they actually made $500,000 in just a span of a week, which is pretty crazy, because everybody talks about Texas and other places like Alabama or Georgia putting up money because they're fans and donors and all this stuff and alumni, but the USC fan base just showed up pretty well. I was not able to myself, but yeah, a lot of people did step up around here, which is pretty cool. So maybe a lot more money will be filling in for those high school athletes or transfer portal players that USC really needs on the team to help them out right away and quickly. So definitely looking forward to seeing what this brings in the near future. And tonight, yes, Tuesday night, Duke did beat Salle. It was at 95-66, something like that. Yeah, so pretty big victory overall. Tyrese Proctor was playing very well. I kind of stopped watching because as a family we decided to watch a movie, so I kind of felt okay when Duke was already getting up above 15 plus points, and luckily they already won by almost 30, which was nice. So that's definitely what you got to do, because a lot of these teams are pretty good in their own league, but when they play against bigger competition like this, they kind of allow the other team basically to beat up on them. But it's okay because they still get a nice, a bag of money when they leave, because they're usually teams that pay them basically to not scrimmage, but to be able to put them on their schedule, which is still good for that other school because they're able to use that money towards their other stuff around that school and campus and everything like that. So that's pretty cool for them. But yeah, overall, it's a nice victory for Duke, and definitely very happy about that. I forget who they play next, but definitely should be a big time matchup coming up soon. And then when it came to a little bit of off the beat news the other day, for the Anaheim Angels, Shohei Ohtani did win the AL MVP, which is the American League MVP, which is cool for him. Obviously, and that one of the LA teams, a player wins the MVP, it's cool either way, but it does suck because it's most likely his final year or final season as an Anaheim Angels player. Who knows where he's officially going to go when free agency comes. I don't know if they still have the ability to keep him or not, but we'll just have to wait and see what happens. And I am very sad that I was not able to go out and see him. I think maybe a season ago I was able to go with my family and be able to see him at least hit, not pitch, but it would be pretty awesome to go see him pitch and hit in the same game as well. So maybe trying to do that if he still stays on the Angels, or maybe when he comes back to play against them. You never know. And then the other day, when that 2024 247 Sports mock draft came out, it had the Chargers selecting an edge player named Chop Robinson from Penn State. And Penn State has had a pretty good defense so far this year, so I'm not too upset at this. But right after this pick, there was a UCLA player who's an edge player as well, and Latu has been really good. He's been one of the better players. It's hard for me to say, especially because he's a UCLA player, but he's been really good. And just even a couple years ago, he was pretty much told he wasn't going to be able to play football with a certain neck injury, but he got a couple of other doctors to give him the okay, and he's been healthy ever since. But that would be kind of like a hard person to draft in the first round, especially with the Chargers' history of injuries, and they're even going through with one of their edge players right now, and Joey Bosa. So maybe not him, but there was a pretty good other player like Cooper DeJean. He is a cornerback from Iowa has such a great defense, but they have such a crappy offense, and sometimes they could win just by scoring 10 points, which is pretty crazy. But yeah, obviously getting a guy from that school, especially on that side of the ball, is good. And then Jazari Newton, I believe he recently declared that he was going to the draft. I could be wrong. The defensive lineman from Illinois, but he's one of my favorite players too. And I did not see him in the first round here, so maybe they could steal him in the second. But all I've heard was that he's one of the top interior defensive linemen. So usually those guys can go in the first round. So we'll just have to wait and see how much more worse the Chargers get, which means how much better their draft pick gets. They can select higher in the draft, but I don't know. It just feels like another close to 50-50 record, and at least close to it enough where they're going to pick in the middle of the draft, which would suck, but it just feels like it. And yes, the Lakers did play tonight and were able to get this victory pretty easily against the Utah Jazz in an in-season tournament game, 131-99, and AD had 26 points, 16 rebounds, and they basically won this in-season tournament Group A, which was nice, and LeBron was able to sit down in the fourth quarter, which was really good for him as well. But during this game, he only had 17 points, but he did end up becoming the only player in NBA history with 39,000 career points, which is pretty crazy. And then he became the number 7 all-time on the 3-points list in NBA history, which is pretty crazy because I just thought we talked about this. I think it was steals in the last video, and I think we had talked about within the last week or two of him passing someone up on the 3-pointers list, and once again, it happened. So luckily, I think he has like a couple hundred more, 1,000 more he'd have to make in order to get to the next one, so we won't have to worry about talking about that. But yeah, either way, big time victory. And like I said, this in-season tournament thing depends. So there's like basically 6 different groups. So there will be 6 winners at some point, and then 2 wild cards, one from the East, one from the West, and then somehow that's going to be a tournament determined to figure out who wins this. I do not know, so I'll just go by and hopefully it'll get explained a lot more as we keep going on, because I understand it somewhat, but it's still kind of up in the air a little bit. And to end off with some miscellaneous news, yes, the other day this week, or maybe even last week, it was the 20-year anniversary of Blink-182's Untitled album, which was kind of their last album before they split up and eventually came back twice together with the main core of Tom, Mark, and Travis. But yeah, this album was great. A lot of great songs. The opening song, Feeling This. Then, obviously I Miss You was one of the biggest songs out there, and obviously the biggest hit in concert, the Tom DeLonge part, Where Are You? Everybody knows that part. But Down was a pretty good single as well. Always is a great song also. Very cool music video that I talked about within the last month or so. It was an anniversary for that one, but a song that's on there people don't normally talk about, but I like a lot, is called Asthenia. I believe that's how you say it, but it's one of the better songs on that album, in my opinion. One of the better albums from their catalog, so definitely check it out if you haven't somehow. But yes, very good album in my opinion. And then the other day, producer Irwin Winkler said that Michael B. Jordan will most likely direct Creed 4, which obviously he directed the third one. But Winkler is the main producer on pretty much all of the Rocky movies, and he's kind of been in the news against Stallone too, because Stallone really hates him for the fact that he kind of took control and ownership of the Rocky franchise, even though Stallone created it, and yes, he had to sell the rights basically at the time to make enough money and all this stuff, and he would just assume he would be able to own it at some point, but apparently he has no interest or built up stock in it at all, which is pretty crazy. Yeah, that's why he was a little bit of a spoiler that he wasn't in Creed 3 at all, the Rocky character, and it's not like they said he passed away either, but there was a pretty big moment in there that you thought Rocky would have been there automatically, and he wasn't for some reason. So I think Stallone said he wouldn't come back if Winkler was producing, which it sounds like he would be this version, but it seems like they kind of ended the story pretty well, because in that movie he kind of semi-retires and then comes back again to fight a childhood friend. So I don't know if he's gonna keep going on or retire again or be a coach and kind of mix like Rocky 5 again, but just a lot better. It's probably the worst movie of the franchise, including Creed's, all those. But yeah, definitely looking forward to that in the near future, hopefully. So yeah, thanks for watching, people. Like, subscribe, comment down below. Let me know what y'all think. Have a good rest of your day. Bye.